Well, good morning, everyone. Once again, welcome to another live this morning, and I hope you got your notice that I'm on. Some people were saying yesterday, and somehow Facebook didn't notify them. Jean, good morning. Rosalinda, good morning to you. Mike, hope you're having a great day. Joe and John from Elgin, Illinois. Rosa, Montreal, Jeanette from our staff. Evangeline, good morning. Wendy, good morning. Dear friend. Another friend, Madeline from Timiskaming. Lynn from Werner, bonjour. Micheline, Francis Marie, Diney, Colleen, May. I like that. Hi, May. Rita, Olive, Connie, good morning, Connie, Flo, and Emily, Jeanette, and Morris from North Bay. Al, good morning. Adeline, and Nick from our staff. Do I make my staff watch? Hi, Wanda. Shelley, good morning to you. Evelyn, thanks again, guys, for coming on. Leela, I see some new people here. Marie, good morning. And Leanne, another Diane, Sandra, good morning to you. Rosemary, how are you? Susan, and Sean. Wasila. I like that too. Different. Jean, Gail, Saskatchewan, Marine. Hey guys, it always amazes me from coast to coast, all through North America and all around the world. Marlene, isn't that amazing? Hi Pam, good morning. Say hi to Richard, Janine and Janine and Jan. And somebody saying good morning. I can't read the name. Dorothy. Okay. Now, guys, I wasn't going to do this, but because it came off hot off the press. New study that was published in the last week, and I saw it yesterday. So I'm very fortunate to be able to get all these studies, and I am going to read you the results of this study, okay? And here it is. This, guys, is another incredible reason for you to be getting Viderma. Now, for the new folks that are with us this morning, and maybe you haven't heard that name, I have a new, I'm not going to call it a drug, but a miracle cure. And I don't use that word lightly. It's a miracle vitamin. It's called Viderma. V-I-T capital D-E-R-M-A. I'm trying to trademark that name. Because it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, guys, what vitamin D does for you. The sun. Was it John Denver that sang, "Sunshine on my shoulder makes me happy"? But guys, this new study came out in the last week, shows that your thyroid will not work properly, especially in women, if their vitamin D levels are less than 50 ng/ml. Now that's in the United States. I'll convert it for you right now. In the United States, if your number is not above 50, and in Canadian, because we in Canada do NMNOL, LL really per liter. But here's the conversion. 50 in the United States, if it's below that, your thyroid will not work properly. In Canada, it's 125. Now, normal levels, normal levels, I mean, the ranges are from here to eternity. And if you're not below that, doctors don't worry about it, and they're more worried about you having high vitamin D than you having low vitamin D. That's a blanket statement, but that's a statement that I know to be true over the last 40-something years of practice. When I was talking about vitamin D, doctors were worried about, well, it's a fat-soluble vitamin, and you can get sick from it. Not that they ever see it, but it's in their textbooks. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. And I've taught you over the years that vitamin D is much more than a vitamin. It is a hormone. It's a hormone. You're a human solar panel. And now, hot off the press, a study is showing that if you don't have good optimized levels of vitamin D, then your thyroid won't work properly. Now, why is that important? Because your thyroid is your gas pedal in your car. You can start the car, but if you don't have a gas pedal, you're not going anywhere. You're going to live in neutral. You ever put your car in neutral? You're not doing much. It's running. Your metabolism. Think of what the thyroid does. Now, we'll talk a little bit more about this, but your thyroid controls, and remember, it's from the brain first. It's the hypothalamus, pituitary axis, they call it, that the thyroid is a puppet, okay? So it does this, right? But the thyroid, nonetheless, I'm trying to think if there's ever been an organ that has been so misdiagnosed like the thyroid gland and mistreated like the thyroid gland. And generally, because if you look in a textbook, and this test only came out in the 1970s, the textbook says, well, here's the normal limits. And again, they're from here to eternity. And as long as you're within normal limits, your thyroid is working well. But what if you're gaining weight? What if you're losing hair? What if your nails are not strong like they used to be? What if you're dragging your tails, energy-wise? What if your eyebrows are thinning? You look at food and gain weight. You don't have to eat it, just look at it. You're a mess. Unexplained itchiness. Sometimes hives just show up out of nowhere. Your hormones are out of whack. Oh yeah, but my doctor says my thyroid's normal. Eh, if it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. Your thyroid's not normal. And I guess the reason I was so busy, it took almost 3 months to come and see me. I didn't like that, by the way, but it's just the way it was. But it's because I would look at holistically. I'd look at everything. I understood that the thyroid doesn't work on its own. I would look at the estrogen and progesterone, because your thyroid can't work properly when you are estrogen dominant. You're too much of a woman. Oh, Dr. Martin, I'm in menopause. I'm losing my estrogen. Nah, you still got too much estrogen compared to your progesterone. It's a balancing act, and you're out of balance. And we do it. Tony Jr. and I did a teaching, a webinar, and you can actually get that teaching if you just ask for it. And that is, I think it's right on our website. Thyroid distress syndrome. Your thyroid's in distress. You're not feeling good. You're out of whack. But unless you look at everything holistically, you're going to miss it. Now, a lot of you send blood. I look for your TSH. Now, the TSH was created, thyroid stimulating hormone test, was created in I think it was 1970, early 1970s. I have never in my life seen a test so misinterpreted as that test. Because you don't take the test alone. You got to look at other things. If you have leaky gut, do you know that you do not convert? Now remember this, guys, okay? Little teaching. Your thyroid, hypothalamus, remember, okay? Hippocampus, memory center. Hypothalamus, hormone center of your brain. Sends little signals down to your pituitary. Your pituitary tells your thyroid to make certain hormones. Thyroid stimulating hormone. Okay, your pituitary makes it. And you make T1, you make T2, you make T3, you make T4, you make T5, and one more, calcitonin. Don't need to know all that. Here's what you need to know. The one that your body uses, the one that thyroid uses to work properly is, what number is it? T what? Okay, you should have, if you've been listening, T3. And I've done that illustration with you in the past, and I'll do it again, but in a year, 1 year, your body makes less than a teaspoon of T3. You think just for 1 minute that your thyroid might be pretty finicky? If it only makes the one that it needs to function properly, T3, and it makes a teaspoon of it in a year. Can you imagine if you're missing just a little wee bit? Or you have a little bit too much? Hyper. But guys, and you have no idea how I want to teach the thyroid gland. I hate to be even pompous, but even to endocrinologists, they forget all that. They're looking at the lab. The lab has hijacked them. The lab blood work, the laboratory has hijacked medicine. This is why I'm a question guy. Fill out a questionnaire. I want to know how you're feeling. You got insight. My dad used to say that. Listen to your patients. They have inside information. Patients know. They might not know why, but they know how they feel. Listen, Linda, listen. Doctors, take the cotton out of your ears. I was talking to a former patient the other day. She said, I went to the doctor, my doctor. He never looked at me. He was on his computer. Folks, that's malpractice. That's what that is. That's malpractice. God gave you eyeballs to look, observe a patient. I used to look at, they come in, I'd look at the texture of their skin. I'd look at their eyebrows. I got to tell you this. I remember one lady, she came in and I didn't know her from Adam. First time I'd ever seen her. And I guess I can be a little bit overwhelming, I'm a hugger, first of all. I'd come near you. Oh, COVID. Oh, what it's done to me. No, but I mean, you were in my office and the staff can attest to this, okay? And this lady said, and I can't help myself, okay? Because she said, Doc, you're in my space. I said, no, you're in my space. I'm going to have a good look at you. You came here, you waited 3 months to see me, and now I am going to do a complete workup. And part of that is I'm going to take my eyeballs and I'm going to look at you. You're in my space. Your space is when you're at home. Okay? Anyway, I'm pretty intimidating. I'm a big teddy bear, I really am. But for some people, because of this voice, which I used to great advantage when my kids were young, when Dad raised his voice, kids, listen. See that line there? You're crossing it. Anyway, I think it was because we had 11 kids in the family, and in order to get anything, you needed to scream. But guys, I used to observe. I'd look at eyebrows. I'd look at the texture of their skin. I used to know almost without looking at all the results of their test yet. I knew whether they had estrogen dominance. I'd see little women with little hairs on their chinny chin. What is that? Well, that's too much testosterone. Why is that? Too much estrogen. It's not testosterone, it's estrogen. And if you have too much estrogen, your thyroid's not working properly. If you had fatty liver, guess where T4 to T3 is metabolized? In your liver. So if you have fatty liver, your thyroid won't work properly. If you have leaky gut, where T4 is converted to T3, part of it, about 20% of it, your thyroid won't work properly. And now, here's another one. Too much cortisol, stress. It diminishes the conversion of T4 to T3. Remember, T3 is what your thyroid needs to work properly. Now, none of those things have to do with TSH. And yet the doctors, vast majority, they live on that. They live on TSH. And now the new kid on the block, according to studies, fascinating, you won't hear it on the mainstream media, I guarantee it, is that unless you have Viderma, unless you have good levels of vitamin D above 50 in the US of A, to my American friends, and to my Canadian friends, over 125, which is, can I tell you, can I share it with you? Can I just give it to you? 80 to 90% of the population are nowhere near those numbers. Are nowhere near those numbers. And without sunshine, without vitamin D, your thyroid won't work properly. And not just vitamin D, guys. Optimized levels of vitamin D. Optimized. You know me, I'm an optimized guy. Normal? What's normal? People ask me that when they want me to look at their blood work and they go, what's normal? I don't care what's normal. You want to know what's normal? Google it. I'm looking for dysfunction. Not necessarily disease. I'm looking for dysfunction. Your thyroid is your gas pedal. Oh, doc, I can't lose weight. Hey, doc, my hair's falling out. Yeah. Why don't I have good nails? Yep. Lethargic. Running on fumes for a lot of people. Hormones. Isn't that interesting about vitamin D? It's another reason when the sun is out. Can I pull these two together? Okay, because I'm uptight. Now, you know me. For those who don't. The other day, I just sort of gave you a headline, but I didn't really put a lot of emphasis on it. Okay, two things. There's a lab in the United States that tests products. Independent. And they went to the FDA to get 78 sunscreens pulled off the market. 78 of them. And the FDA told Johnson & Johnson and others, recall the product. You And why did this lab, they're called Valley Shore, why did they do that? Why did they recommend? Because these sunscreens, and I think, again, I don't want to have to tell you I told you so, but if you've been listening to me, I told you so. Because I learned something when I was in high school. I learned how to blow up a chemistry lab. Me and my buddy, we were mad scientists. Come on. I was in grade 12 or 13, and I remember that day, like we were playing with stuff, mixing this and mixing that, and we made only one mistake. We put heat to it. We turned on the Bunsen burner. And we almost killed ourselves and others around us. Kaboom. You know what I learned? Here's the lesson that I learned when I walked out of that room. I mean it. I've never forgotten it. Don't add heat to chemicals. Hello? Don't add heat to chemicals. Now, I have been saying all along what I learned in chemistry class. When you put a sunscreen on, okay, just one thing. When you put a sunscreen on, just one thing. Don't go in the sun. Yeah, stay out of the sun. You want to wear a sunscreen? Stay out of the sun. Because when you add heat to a chemical, you know what they're saying now? What I've been saying for a lot of years. You know why there's so much skin cancer? Johnson & Johnson. I call it the Johnson & Johnson disease. Now, guys, that might be controversial. It's only controversial because the narrative is, you know how you get skin cancer? Oh, you're in the sun too much. And every study has shown that it's just the opposite. When people, especially the deadly melanoma cancer, they get it when they work indoors. That's why it's up fivefold. It's not because, and then, you remember in the 80s, they said, well, it's the sun and there's no more ozone. You remember that? You should have heard me screaming. I wish I'd have had social media in the 1980s. I was screaming blue murder. What? Oh yeah, the sun, the UV rays. Today, and you can still get that on the Weather Channel, right? Here's your UV index today. Because the sun, it's dangerous. And you know what? My generation especially, okay? And my parents' generation, the one before me, hook, line, and sinker, they went for it. Lathered up the kids. Wouldn't go, well, here we get, I even got a sunscreen when you go in the water. It won't come off. Oh boy, but put heat to it. Oh, the Bunsen burner. You know, the Bunsen burner in the sky? Guys, you wouldn't believe how the pushback I get on that. Because it's like cholesterol. You can't, once you lied long enough, boy, it's hard to undo a lie. Skin cancer, skin cancer, skin cancer. It's the sun, it's the sun, it's the sun. No, it's not. It's the lack of sun. And if you ever did get, because please, I never tell people to burn in the sun. Never. But I remember the Vitamin D Council, this is years ago, said this, and I'm quoting them. For every person that dies from skin cancer, which would be almost 99% of that would be a melanoma. One person dies from melanoma. 250 people die from low levels of vitamin D. It's not even close. And now we know, and this is, like I said, we're going back a long time with the Vitamin D Council, but what we know about the research now is this. It's the people that stay out of Viderma. Say that word, Viderma, Viderma, Viderma. I want to make it a household name. I like it. Okay? Did you get your booster shot of Viderma, guys? Did you? There ain't no antiviral like it. And that's being squashed and hidden because it doesn't fit the narrative. It just doesn't. Now back to the headline. Your thyroid, and especially you guys, ladies, especially you. I don't mean to pick on you. I want to tell you how much I care for you by telling you the truth. Vitamin D is essential. Optimized vitamin D is essential for your thyroid to work. Yep. It's a finicky little organ, eh? Like, the thyroid. And not very big. It's the size of about of a walnut. It's no bigger than that. Mighty Mouse. It's powerful. But it's a puppet. It's got a lot of strings attached to it. And one of them is vitamin D, your Viderma. And one little repetition before I close, okay? Because I want to just tell you about this. Okay, because we did this teaching, I don't remember now, is it a week, 2 weeks ago, whatever? 4 ways, put this thumb down, 4 ways to get vitamin D. The best, the sun. Empty out the senior homes when the virus was going around and killing seniors. We shut them in. Biggest mistake we ever made. Hundreds of thousands died. They shut them in like concentration camps. Oh, don't get me going on that. And they should have been giving them, if the sun was out, roll them out, vitamin D. Proven. When the President of the United States got sick, you remember that? It's amazing. There was no vaccine yet. What did they give him? With the doctors around him. They knew something the rest of the world didn't know. They gave him vitamin D and high doses of it. Yeah. They knew something, and yet the media, Our health minister in Canada said, oh, it's fake news. There's no money in it. Go sit in the sun for 20 minutes, you get 10,000 IUs. Do you want to know what makes me uptight? Is when people think that's dangerous. 20 minutes. If you got dark skin, you better go 40 minutes. The darker your skin, the more vitamin D, the more sun you need to get vitamin D. I could go on for days here. Okay, 4 ways to get vitamin D. 1, how do you get it? From your skin. Viderma, the sun. 2, food. Vitamin D3, the vitamin you absorb, is in eggs, meat, and cheese. And fish, of course. Cod liver oil. It's in the animal kingdom. It's not in the plant kingdom. Sorry. I'm always apologizing to my vegan and vegetarian friends. I'm sorry if you insist on eating plants. Good for you, but you're not getting vitamin D. You better get in that sun because you're not eating it, you're not consuming it. Milk. I don't like milk, but I like the cow in the backyard. Drink cream. Now you're getting vitamin D. Now, that's not the best way to get vitamin D. It isn't. And you got to have it every day if that's what you're relying on it. That's why Eskimos were eating liver from the fish and the seal every day. Cod liver oil. Okay? It's not the best way, but you can get some vitamin D from your food. 3, your body converts it because it's a hormone. You need it from your, it supplies all your tissue, and this is where you get the dehydroxy. Your liver produces vitamin D. Guess when it doesn't? When you have fatty liver. How do you get fatty liver? You're a carboholic. That's how you get fatty liver. And the 4th way, so your body makes vitamin D, okay? The problem is you better top it up. And you better empty your liver, do the reset. And number 4, the hormonal form by supplement. When you take a supplement of vitamin D, millions and millions of people do, and they do it right. That's right. I start my vitamin D when I can't see the sun, and you can't get butt naked outside. It's too cold. No, when you can't get your arms and legs, okay? Well, you're not getting vitamin D. I don't know about climate change, but the climate changes in Northern Ontario. Just when we think, we get real hot, and then you're freezing to death. That's climate change, and it's been like that in Northern Ontario as long. I've lived here all my life. Anyway. So that's how you get it. Okay. I'm over time. I was getting excited there. Okay. Guess what tomorrow is? Question and answer. Okay? Somebody said, are you going to sing? Maybe. You guys are unreal. You know that? It's how much I enjoy you guys. And a lot of you are comedians. You know that, eh? Okay. So send in your questions. Not too late. We'll try and answer all of them tomorrow. Hey, thanks for joining the private Facebook group. You guys are wonderful. We mean it. Okay, wonderful. And you can, you have any questions, just send them in. And the reset book, still rolling along, and we appreciate that too. Thank you for that, okay? I'm working on a couple of new books, okay? Good, okay. We love you guys. Talk to you soon.